Scenes of looting taking place at various shopping centres and malls in some parts of Gauteng and all across KwaZulu-Natal have flooded headlines and news bulletins for days now. In some cases, buildings were set alight, including malls, which left many businesses and building owners with massive damage and, of course, huge financial loss. Joining us now to talk about the options available for property owners seeking relief from their insurance providers in order to rebuild their businesses is Jean-Paul Rudd, who is a partner and attorney at Adams & Adams. Jean-Paul, welcome to the morning show. So for many businesses and business owners who are grappling with the effects of protests in their businesses, maybe you can talk us through the process that they must go through. Is it the same as making an ordinary insurance claim?
Morning, thanks for having me on your show. So it's somewhat different because in South Africa the position's a bit different to the rest of the world. Now what we need to remember is that an insurance policy is a contract just like any other contract, so it needs to comply with certain requirements. Now, in any insurance contract, there are general exclusions as well. Now, the general exclusions you would find are, for instance, if you sustain damage stemming from an earthquake or damage stemming from a war or an act of terrorism, those are general exclusions that you find. Now, the position in South Africa is slightly different to the rest of the world. If you look at the States, for instance, or in Europe, you are allowed to claim for damage stemming from political riots or any sort of riots. That is not an exclusion there. Now in South Africa, the position is slightly different. The position in South Africa is as follows. Your normal insurance contract, your business policy, needs to be extended to include SASRIA coverage. Now, SASRIA is a state-owned insurer that was started many years ago following the Soweto riots. So what businesses need to do is they need to look at their policy to see that it has been extended to include SASRIA coverage, in which case they would be covered in respect of the rioting and looting.
I mean, when you initially take an insurance policy on as a business owner, as a building owner, you know, how effectively is the SASRIA provision explained to you? How effectively is that communicated that this is something that could happen and needs to be insured against?
I've had a few chats to a few brokers in this regard, and my understanding is that the SASRIA coverage is almost automatically included in most policies. But, you know, you don't want to be that business where, for instance, during lockdown, it was going tough and you decided to try and skim on your policy and pay a little bit less and decided to remove SASRIA coverage, because in that case you would be in quite a predicament at the moment.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about the various types of insurance that businesses can have. Which are the most common and the most necessary to have, Jean-Paul?
So businesses insurance is extensive these days. If you think of the various cyber crimes that can be committed in any business, whether it's in the banking environment or elsewhere. So that's something we see quite often now is cyber crime insurance, as well as obvious insurance. For instance, a third-party insurance if someone would get injured. If you have a client getting injured on your property, you would want to have third-party insurance in respect of that. Then you have your normal protection cover in respect of stock and protection in respect of your building and so on. So it's really fairly extensive. Over the years, insurance has really developed, and you have a wide range of cover. But I must say, just with respect to the SASRIA cover, it is an extra premium. So you would be paying, in addition to your normal policy, a little bit extra. You would still take out the policy with your normal insurer, but they would then recover those premiums and pay it over to SASRIA at the end of the day.
I mean, I found this all so fascinating from a business ownership point of view. Let's talk a little bit about if you, as a business owner, submit a claim and Jean-Paul, the claim gets rejected. What legal recourse do you have there?
Yes, so that's important. It's a very good question because businesses should also keep in mind there's something called a time barring clause. So they can't wait forever to submit claims. The policy will dictate what the time barring clause is in respect of Sastria coverage. My understanding is it's something like 30 days, but I'm not 100% sure. So businesses really have to act promptly when submitting their claims. So what they would do is they submit their claims to their normal insurer, who would then look at it and pass it over to Sastria for processing and paying. But should an insured business be in the unfortunate position that the claim is rejected, they've got basically two options. The one option would be to refer the matter to the ombudsman, short-term ombudsman, and once you refer the matter to the ombudsman, then the time barring clause is suspended, so you don't have to worry about your claim prescribing. Now, the ombudsman route is a cheaper and quicker route, but it's not a route for a large claim or a complicated claim. If it's a large and complicated claim, your rights would be to institute action in a court of law. You would just have to follow the appropriate jurisdiction and institute in the right court, obviously, based on the monetary value and where the contract was taken out.
What options do businesses have if they have been affected by the riots and they did not choose the proper insurance cover? Is there anything that can be done to help?
That's also a very good question. If they don't have insurance, then one would have to consider possible other recourse. Now, in my mind, the only other possible recourse I could think of is possibly a claim against the state. But that would be a very high hurdle to overcome, because you would have to try and hold the state liable in respect of their common law duty of care towards businesses and citizens, or possibly looking at holding them liable in respect of a claim for constitutional damages. So you would look at it from a constitutional perspective as well.
One last question before I let you go. How long does an insurance claim take to pay out, Jean-Paul?
Normally it takes quite quick, but we can expect that these Sastria claims are going to take long, just due to the sheer volume of the claims. You can expect thousands and thousands of claims being instituted. Now, in my mind, I just hope that Sastria has enough money to be paying out. My understanding is the MD of Sastria has said that they would entertain the claims, and my understanding as well is that they have 3 times the value needed or required by regulators. So it seems like they do have the money, and obviously they also do have reinsurance. In case claims exceed a certain amount, then the reinsurance would also kick in.
What an interesting time. That was Jean-Paul Rudd talking to us about the options available to businesses seeking relief during this very, very difficult time. Thanks for your time, Jean-Paul.
Thanks for having me.
We'll take a short break. It's the morning show on E. Don't go away.